Greetings, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Incantus, Phylacterium, the place I keep my words. Episode 15, Sitch and Adam are wrong about everything. Here we give S-Class and A-Team a little bit of a taste of their own medicine. I will be listening and live reacting-ish to their video. Let's see how that works. This is the first time I've ever attempted such a thing. I already feel like I've screwed up the introduction, but hey, this is where I ramble. If you don't want to watch this, go away. No, please stay. Please listen. Stay a while and listen. I appreciate your attention and your time, but here we go. I gotta channel my inner Adam for this one. I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. I'm gonna give you all a piece of my mind because what's happening here? Let's play the video and see exactly what is happening. This is the first time I've ever done this too, so we're gonna be pausing and playing, etc. And it looks like I'm their guest, which, hey, Sitch, Adam, that's a great idea. I'm a fantastic guest, if I do say so myself, if I may so humbly brag.
We're going to finish this video, goddamn.
We are not going to finish this video. We're going to select about a 10-15 minute chunk, and I'm going to comment on it. So
I think we're not. Are you lazing out? I mean,
I was never
because I am lazy.
We have like 4 hours left.
I never planned to finish this video because I didn't want to watch the end of the video. I just wanted to watch the sections that I.
The video you're not seeing is a political commentator whom I will say, Sitch and Adam, we're not wrong about. This person, in my estimation, did not give the most accurate representation of the material. But that is beside the point. That's not what we're doing here today.
I want to watch.
This is not intended to be a political
video.
video.
I've never even seen the end.
Because
I never got to the end.
It's like not even worth responding to. It just spirals off into
into nonsense.
Into nonsense. Yeah. I mean, it already is a nonsense, but like they go into the whole.
I also plan to spiral out into nonsense.
You know, said that women shouldn't wear makeup and work.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
I forgot about that.
Here's something I should have done. Cut this down a little bit. I just kind of grabbed this 15-minute clip. I was not prepared for this. Do I look like I know what I'm doing? I am indeed a hoppy camper. That's all. I'm just entertaining myself today, so we're going to see how this goes. Hopefully they'll get to the point pretty soon. You'll see why I'm doing this.
You know, Jordan Peterson saying that he's in favor of gay marriage, but he doesn't say it well enough. You know,
yada.
And Jordan Peterson believing that there can be prophetic dreams. Oh my God, how dare he believe that? You know, it's just a whole.
Prophetic Dreams, indeed. I've got a dog in my lap. I'm not getting up because I am also lazy. I got a stack of books, my 14 currently available works of historical dream literature, many of which tackle the 2,000-year-old question of prophetic dreams. And anyone who's seen some recent episodes will know I'm getting a lot more reports of such things, people that believe they've had that kind of stuff. So apparently our good friend, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, also believes that is possible. He is in good company with the wizard. Let us continue.
I had a prophetic dream once.
Adam had one.
I had a dream that I was driving down Highway 17, which is a highway in Northern California that's very like windy, just incredibly windy, like winds through the mountains, the Santa Cruz Mountains.
I think I've been there.
And I was in a convertible Mustang, and I had one foot on the back of the seat and the other foot on the steering wheel so I could steer. So I'm like steering with one foot as I'm like surfing the car. Oh God.
Wait, I don't understand what the fuck you're saying.
That's a pretty cool dream. I would actually love to have the opportunity to talk about that dream. What does it mean, surfing the car? We know our good friend Adam was a surfer, and that was a big part of his life. So we would not at all be surprised to see that iconography pop up in his dreams.
You were standing?
Yeah. So I'm driving down Highway 17 in a convertible Mustang, and I'm standing up on the back of the seat, you know, one foot on the back of the seat and one foot on the top of the steering wheel. Actually, I think I might have had.
How are you pushing the gas?
I must have had a brick on there. Come on, it's a dream. Let me dream, Sitch.
That is a good point. Sitch raised a very practical concern. Wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. How are you hitting the gas? Adam is absolutely right. We haven't got to the part where they're wrong about everything yet. I promise you that's coming. Or not. I just made an aggressive title to get attention. Am I doing it right? Is that how you win the internet? Sitch raised a very practical concern. Dreams are not that way at all. It doesn't matter how the car goes. The car goes. Dreams are not happening. They happen in imagination. it is not necessary that they make sense. Don't get yourself hung up on that idea of things being impossible. Flying dreams. People don't fly. We can get in an airplane. We can, use a paraglider, a parachute. We can bungee cord off of things, but we cannot flap our little digits and rise into the air. And yet we do. It is impossible. Dreams are the impossible happening. It's more the imagery and what it means to you and why that expression would be presented, why you would present that to yourself. Moving on.
You said it was prophetic, so I thought
it is prophetic. It is prophetic because I woke up from that dream and I'm like, I have to own a convertible Mustang. I have to own one. It's my lifelong goal.
Because of that dream.
Convertible Mustang.
Right.
Exactly.
So you made it come true is what you're saying.
I did, yeah. I got myself a convertible
Well,
Mustang.
I hope you didn't actually attempt to do this.
The surfing thing?
The surfing.
I mean, I did a little bit, but only on a side street.
Okay.
I choose to believe he did not actually fulfill that part of the dream because, as Sitch pointed out, it would be a practical impossibility. Although he did mention, maybe I put a brick on the gas. I think he would not do that. I think Adam is smarter than that. But was this truly a prophetic dream? I am going to say no, in the strictest sense. There are self-fulfilling prophecies. Absolutely. It is one of those things where you can dream about something and say, hey, that's pretty damn cool. I'm going to make it come true. And then by your own choice, you follow through. You make it your life's goal. Not exactly what people mean technically by the concept of prophetic dream. So we're going to put that, Adam is wrong, not in the correct category. I should be keeping score. Let's do that. Let's see if I remember. That's something I didn't plan for, so it's probably going to go horribly wrong. How many times were Sitch and Adam respectively wrong in this video? We're going to give Sitch 1 for expecting practicality out of pure imagination. We're going to give Adam 1 wrong for brain fart, miscategorizing prophetic dreams. To continue, but he's just goofing. That's no big deal. I don't think he's serious about that, but he's still wrong.
No, of course not. Come on, that's crazy. What, are you gonna put a brick on the fucking guy?
I don't know.
And I remember that dream to this day. Oh God, it was so beautiful. I was like Superman.
That is a lot of times what happens to people. We have certain specific powerful dreams that stick with us. They mean something very important, how we see ourselves, aspirational things. So from being a surfer, it's very easy to see he would translate that to surfing a muscle car in that manner. And just the thrill of it, the excitement, the danger, not surprised he would remember it to this very day after decades. That's exactly how these things work.
Right.
I'm like, look at me. I'm the king. I'm the king of the world. And this was long before that movie even came out.
Right. So that was the real prophetic dream.
Back in the early 90s.
I'm the king of the world, quoting a movie that didn't come out yet.
So have you ever had a dream like that where you're like, okay,
have I not talked about that? I thought I could have sworn I've talked about this on stream like several times. I used to dream of the future constantly.
Oh, really? No, you like that where you're
Whoa.
like, okay,
I moved it back. I meant to just pause. Here we see Sitch saying, I used to dream of the future constantly, or I still do, perhaps. I didn't catch that quite. It does seem to be more common in specific individuals. So if you either do or don't tend to have dreams that, from what I can tell, seem to come true. And some people do and some people don't. And the people that don't, they just don't. I never have. Couldn't point to a single one. I only know people who have. And it seems like among those people, the typical circumstance is that it tends to happen more than once. It's not like you have one prophetic dream and never happens again. It tends to be, then there are more prolific dreamers than others, people who just dream all the time and remember them all the time. That's its own category. But in this realm of prophetic dreams, if we believe in such things, they do tend to happen more than once, and maybe with more regularity or frequency, as Sitch is saying. So moving on.
Have I not talked about that? I could have sworn I've talked about this on stream, but like several times.
What?
I used to dream of the future constantly.
Oh, really? No, you
Yes.
never really talked about it.
I used to have a lot of prophetic dreams, but here's the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
They would always be of incredibly mundane, unimportant incidences or events.
That's another very salient point there. Prophetic dreams are not always going to be of major catastrophes or life-changing events. It'll often, from the report, be very simple, mundane things. You have a dream that you're going to get a letter in the mail on a certain day under certain circumstances, and you are present on the front porch to meet the mailman, and it just so happens next Tuesday, that happens. Not earth-shaking, not something that's like moving, the foundations of the universe and changing your life forever, but it's still a mind-blowing event. I dreamed this. This happened. I remembered having dreamed it before it happened. I am watching it happen right now. Again, am I credulous of these things? Do I endorse that these are necessarily true? Hell if I know. I'm going to assume Sitch is not lying about this. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's assume that. Otherwise, what's the point? Under those circumstances, it appears to happen. The hell is that? What is it? What is it? A mind boggle, but I'm fascinated.
Why are you even bringing it up? Like,
because it's still a dream of the future, Adam. That's crazy. Like, it was a dream of the future, but it was of something unimportant.
I dreamed I ate a chili dog for lunch.
But that's what to me, that's what made it hilarious.
Oh, look, a chili dog. I'm gonna eat when I'm hungry.
Wait a minute. To me, that's what made it like hilarious. It was like the universe was laughing at me. It's like, here, you're gonna have like prophetic dreams, but it's gonna be of bullshit. It's gonna be of like
that's so sad.
Completely trivial. There was literally a sketch on SNL a million years ago with Christopher Walken, because he was in the Dead Zone, and like the bit in SNL was that when he would touch someone and he would see their future, but it would be of something completely inconsequential, like, oh my God, your son, he's
I remember that.
Your maid has just mopped the floor, and your son is gonna come in from outside, and he's gonna run across that freshly mopped floor with his dirty shoes, and it's just gonna be dirt everywhere and mud everywhere.
I just let that play because I remember watching that sketch. I saw it. That is the universe laughing at us. It feels to me like, just like Sitch said, the idea that you give this tremendous, amazing, mind-blowing power, and what is it? Your floor, it'll get dirty. Oh no. What is up with that? I don't know, but I just wanted you to hear that story too. I didn't edit any of this stuff. You didn't expect me to prepare, did you? That's not happening.
Stop. Right? Like that was literally me. That was my dreams.
Oh, great analogies too.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one of them, because I had a bunch of them. I could have swore I talked about this on stream before. So I had one where this was in college, and in the dream I was in class, and in the dream I could, or when I'm remembering the dream, I could figure out what class I was in by like who was sitting around me. And there was a paper on a desk. There was an empty desk in front of me. I'm kind of like in the middle of the class. I'm sitting like almost directly in the middle of the classroom. There's a blank, empty desk in front of me, and there's a paper on it. And some girl enters into the classroom, and she sits down, and she puts her book bag down really heavily. And the wind from that pushes the paper off the desk. Okay. And the paper falls onto the floor.
This is some detailed shit, man.
Yeah, but
that's a good point right there. A lot of these are amazingly detailed, and this is how people come to believe prophetic dreams are entirely possible, is that it's not a vague feeling that some kind of a thing is going to happen at a place. That does happen sometimes, but most of these reported prophetic dreams are immensely detailed. The class, you can see the people, how the wind came to be from the person sitting that blew the paper off the desk, all of this, and it stuck with them for all these years, however many they may be, 10 or 15, depending on, no idea how old these guys are. I mean, I think Adam's closer to my age, in the mid to early 40s, and Sitch, I think, is maybe a bit younger, early 30s. Not sure at all. But again, just that brief commentary on the nature of these experiences, that when they come to be, it's like bing, bang, boom, bada bing, the whole thing, every piece this is what people report that they experience. It's hard not to take that seriously. And we continue.
Well, listen, there's a reason for this. It pushes the paper onto the floor. And so I kind of like reach over awkwardly because like the way it fell. I like reach over very uncomfortably and awkwardly, and I pick up the paper and I put it back on the desk. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's the dream. That's all the dream was just mm-hmm. that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So a few days later, I'm in that class and something weird happens where we had like a substitute or something. And so we did this weird thing where the teacher or the sub actually passed like a sign into your attendance thing, like we're in high school again.
Oh, briefly, thinking and not speaking. These prophetic dream experiences, as reported, seem to happen in a very short span. So whatever's going on there may be linked to some reverse echo from the future. If we take this perfectly seriously as a supernatural event, there is some image of something relatively soon happening. It doesn't tend to, the outlier cases are more, I dreamt something and months later that thing happened. It tends to be within a week, within a couple of days. Those are fairly consistent with other reports of prophetic dreaming.
Right. Mm-hmm. This is in college. And it was weird. First of all, it's weird that we were signing into an attendance sheet, which we never did in that class. Or I don't remember really ever doing that in any college class beyond this one. And the other weird thing was the sub didn't hand the paper to like one side of the class and then it's like naturally you hand it to one side and it sweeps across. For some reason, they handed it to someone who was like not in the one side of the class. So instead of the paper going through like a natural progression from one side to the other, it ends up doing this weird spiral thing, ending on me in the middle of the classroom.
Now, this is unusual too. Just another random thought. Maybe it's not an echo from the future. Maybe it is the echo that we experience. And they're going to get into comparing it to Deja Vu in a minute, but maybe since we're going full spooky woo supernatural here, maybe there's something about dreaming it that brings it to fruition. Why would this weird spiral effect happen instead of passing it up and down the rows, back and forth, zigzag? Why this odd progression that it would land on the desk at that time that the girl would sit down and it would blow the paper off? Who knows? But as long as we're purely speculating here, who says it has to work in reverse? Who says it's not being projected into the future and something about having that dream influences it coming true? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.
Right.
With the attendance sheet. So I sign the attendance, and still, while this is all happening, I don't realize this is the dream yet. So while this is happening, I sign the attendance sheet, and I put it on.
Another good point. He actually said, while this is all happening, I don't yet realize it is the dream. Even though in the fullness of the dream, he's explaining that all of these elements were present to his memory. Now, if we're going to go pure psychology, no supernatural, is he having the experience that he has dreamed this in the past? Is he now retconning his own memories? I think that's less likely, not impossible, but in the Occam's razor style, it takes more explanation to get us there. That doesn't mean that a slightly more complex explanation isn't actually true. Things can be counterintuitive, but I don't tend to lean into those things as much. But my original comment, the idea that sometimes you don't really get the click that I've experienced this before. I've dreamed this. This is all now happening until somewhere in the process. And then you go, whoa, all of this and that and everything that happened before. Now I remembered it. Digs into those memories that weren't quite triggered by the experience itself until you hit a certain liminal point of awareness. And then you're like, whoa, I'm in the dream. I'm in that dream experience that I had. So talked way too long on that one small point.
The desk in front of me, the empty desk in front of me, and I put it there. And then the door opens and I go, oh no, it's the dream. And the girl comes in from the dream and she puts her bag down, and exactly like in the dream, the wind blows the paper off the desk.
No way.
And in the dream, I realized, oh, the reason I reached over is because in the dream I didn't know what it was. But now I realize, oh, it's because it was the attendance sheet.
It's important. Okay? Yeah.
So, but wait a minute. So I thought to myself, I said,
I'm not going to do it.
I'm not going to pick it up.
You're like, fuck you, dream world.
That blew my mind when I heard that. I'm like, okay, so now he's got a prophetic dream that is coming true. He's in the middle of it. He realizes it, and he has the choice to stop, to make it not come true. This may be the first report of that kind of a choice during a prophetic dream experience that I've ever heard in my life. It really caught my attention. Really, that line is probably the whole reason I'm doing this, but I'm giving you the full context, the entire conversation, starting from before it even happened. That's a new one on me. I'm always looking for these circumstances where I've never heard of that before. Specifically because I don't understand this phenomenon too well myself. I don't believe in it as such. I don't put faith in it that it's necessarily. I believe the people who tell me they've had it. I want to say that, but I don't understand it well enough to know if the way they describe it is what it actually is. That's maybe the best way to say it. They believe what they're telling me is true. They're reporting a true experience from their perspective. Is it what they think it is? Is it what it appears to be? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's exactly what it appears to be. Maybe it's something else. So that's where my skepticism comes in. Like, I can't explain it well enough to tell you I know the difference between those things. So I just wanted to key in on that point when he mentioned it, and we'll hear the rest of the story.
I'm like,
suck my dick,
Terminator
for Dream
future.
World.
I'm going to buck the system. I'm going to change the future. I'm going to change the future, bitches. I ain't picking up that piece of paper.
And he does. Yeah.
So I didn't pick up that piece of paper.
Oh my God. What
I said,
happened?
let the attendant stay on the floor. I don't care what happens to it. I'm a rebel.
Okay.
So a few minutes later, I'm like doing other things. And I look up and the paper is on the desk.
No way. No way.
Adam's response there was exactly my response. No way. So he tried to change his dream. He tried to change the future. And we've seen a lot of movies, speculative sci-fi, dealing with time travel and different things like that. Can you change the future? Is it locked in stone? If you have a prophetic dream, is it possible to change it? In this specific instance, he does not mention that choosing not to pick it up was an original part of the dream. That is something he says at that moment he decided not to do, to actively subvert this experience he was having so that it didn't play out that way. And circumstances conspired to put it right back on his desk where the dream said it would be. What the is that? I have no idea. That's tripping me. So Adam's like, whoa, no way, dude. I'm with you right there. I'm not keeping track of when these guys are right because I'm not going to give that to him. Deal with it. But he's right on that one. That blew me away too.
And I'm like,
no way.
I'm like,
no
holy
way.
Shit.
It never fell, dude. You were hallucinating.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Possible.
How the fuck did this happen? What the fuck is happening? Holy shit. Like, is the Terminator real?
No,
does it matter that it doesn't do anything? That the future just stabilizes itself somehow magically? What the fuck? And I'm like freaking out here.
Yeah.
And then my friend he's sitting like diagonally, he's like to my right, but like diagonally. So he's like one desk up. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like,
I'm freaking out, man.
Did you see that paper on this desk? And he said, oh yeah, it fell on the floor and I put it there.
Yeah, he picked it up. That's what I thought.
There you go. That's also an important moment too, because so I'm sitting here and I'm listening to someone else describe their experience and I'm feeling it in a way. I'm like, whoa, that's trippy. I can use my imagination, but really there is no way to communicate to someone else, say even the feeling of deja vu, this idea that what that sensation is like. The only thing we can do is ask another person if they've had that feeling and say, yeah, it's that. And they go, oh, I've experienced that. I know what that feels like. You're telling me you felt the same thing. Someone who's never had the fulfillment, like me, of a prophetic dream, I cannot remotely grasp what that sensation is like. And we're going to get to it in a minute. Sitch is going to say there's a difference in feeling between the two, which was another fantastic point and a reason for this video. So enough of my rambling.
I just didn't see him do it.
Oh, that's so sad.
I was like, oh, that's funny. And I told him, I was like, I had a dream about this and I thought I was like bucking the system and then it reappeared.
Right.
So, but there you go. There's one of Sitch's prophetically useless dreams.
Yeah, more importantly,
inconsequential, I should say.
I mean, what did the girl look like?
Adam, asking the important questions.
Reasonably attractive.
You gotta include that in your story, okay?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. The first ever prophetic dream I ever had.
I'm going to say briefly, he's not wrong. Adam's got an ear for detail in that regard in terms of like advertising, what sells the story. If you're going to want to capture an audience and have them invested, you're telling them about something spooky, woo, strange. Whoa, I had this experience. You play up a little bit that the girl was cute. There's a little additional wow factor in there, a little more enticement for the audience to pay attention and care about the story. Is it critical? No, I cared, but Adam raised I think a good point there of that idea of you sell it a little better if you play that up. There you go. It's like making an attractive comic book cover. You want people to buy it. You don't want it to be plain and blank and unappealing. So
was literally about that.
Mm-hmm.
About it was in
having
middle
sex
school.
with a reasonably attractive girl.
No, it was in middle school.
And then he goes right to sex.
And in the dream, I didn't understand what was happening in the dream. In the dream, I'm sitting on the floor of a classroom for some reason, and all around me, the desks and chairs are piled up, and I'm like in a dark corner, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I see people from my class, and I hear someone say, "It's your dream, Michael."
We're going to stop there for just a moment. Okay, what am I trying to say about this? Notice the way he described that. He's sitting on the floor. The desks are piled off to the side. He's in a dark corner. There's something about this representation, and remembering that this is something he's beginning to describe as a prophetic dream of a type, but it seems to be different. He's not picturing himself, as in the last scenario, in a full classroom with other people, the desks lined up as if students are sitting in them, the bright lights, the full classroom atmosphere. Something very otherworldly about this, as if he's viewing it through, from a distance, from a dark corner. He's looking out into this scenario. So maybe in the broader experience of all types of prophetic dreams and how they can manifest, there's something different here about where he's viewing this from, rather than being an active participant or having it centered around him like the incident of the paper was. There's something separated, removed, as if being viewed covertly, or from a distance, being separated from it. I don't think I can say a better way, but that's very interesting. And then the spoken line, "It's your dream, Michael," that is what gets focused on as something that he's a third person observer of. That's kind of what I was getting towards. So,
and then I wake up. My name's not Michael, by the way. And then I wake up, and I'm like, that was a.
Is his name Michael? Do we know Sitch's real name? I don't think we do. I'm going to count that one as undetermined.
Weird dream. What's going on there?
It's your dream, Michael.
Someone says that.
That's what the dream voice says.
That's what the dream voice said, and then I wake up.
Okay.
And my name is not Michael, so I was like, I don't know who the fuck that dream voice was talking to. Okay. So a couple weeks go by, and for some reason, and I know I've talked about this on stream, for some reason, my science teacher decided that we were going to do Taibo in class. As
science teachers will do.
I don't know.
Wait a minute. I missed this factor. If they're going to do Taibo in class, they would move the desks. But still being in a dark corner off to the side, maybe that's representative of being an observer of something happening to someone else. I don't know. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head here. I missed that fact. Forgot that they actually did move the desks for a reason in this video. Again, not prepared, just doing the thing.
Why? This was in 6th grade. Taibo was a craze. She's like, let's do Taibo in class.
Okay.
Right, which was a
6th grade class.
Right, Taibo, if you don't know, was a early 2000s exercise fitness routine or something.
It's which is actually
it was fun when we did it, but so I go into class and all the desks and chairs are piled up against the wall, like in my dream. But I don't realize that yet. And I sit down on the floor and I kind of unconsciously scooch myself back So I'm like under the desk because it's like a fort.
Okay, I was completely wrong on that.
Cool, and I'm not thinking like I don't realize this is the dream yet. And I'm thinking like, oh, this is cool. It's like like a box fort, but with desks. And I'm sitting there, and then I hear someone say, "It's your dream, Michael," and I go, "Oh,
no way!
What the fuck? This was the dream I had," and it all clicks into place. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I look, and the reason they said it's your dream, Michael, was because there was a girl in the class who was wearing those tight leggings, and she was stretching, and her ass was up in the air.
Oh, it's your dream, Michael.
And so they would always make fun of this one kid saying he had a crush on her. So they said, it's your dream, Michael, because her ass was in the air.
Sitting
stretching
behind her with her ass up in the air. Oh.
So
and Adam wisely does not ask for additional details of the attractiveness of a middle school girl. Very wisely.
That was my first ever prophetic dream, was about that incident that had almost nothing to do with me whatsoever.
That's hilarious.
And that's when I knew I could see the future. And that's when I decided I was going to be the next Jordan Peterson. Right. I was going to be the next Father Comstock, and I was going to tell people what's what. And
Ooh, Father Comstock. BioShock Infinity reference for the win. Badass. Great one. I might want to play that. I've been thinking of going back and revisiting BioShock and BioShock Infinite on DreamWizard Plays. I know I'm not doing any of those videos. Hey, update on that. I was a lazy mofo, and I'm finding it hard to find time to regulate my schedule, to not have to get up early some days and not early other days. When am I supposed to be streaming here? Middle of the afternoon? I got all kinds of weird appointments and stuff, and it's just become a beast. I used to be able to do it on the weekends. Weekends are now occupied, so DreamWizard Plays is on indefinite hiatus. Maybe next week. That's my standard answer. When is it starting again? Maybe next Monday. Maybe. We'll see. But to continue.
I was going to tell people how to live their lives.
I think if you did more psychedelics, you might be able to control this power.
That's true.
I am going to put one wrong in each of their two categories in my understanding of the subject. But I'm saying this categorically wrong. Psychedelics do not cause prophetic dreaming necessarily. That is not a feature of psychedelics. It has not been proven that you take someone who is not a prophetic dreamer, give them psychedelics, and they start having more prophetic dreams. Sorry, guys, inaccurate. That said, I'm not so certain about DMT, because apparently DMT is the dreaming drug. That seems to be what's flooding our brain when we're having certain kinds of hallucinatory experiences, including in our sleep. So that might be the one exception. And I think they do mention that. So
I think that's the ultimate goal. Do you feel like when you have that feeling, does it feel like deja vu?
Of course. Yeah. Well, deja vu, because I've had both.
I always felt like deja vu was like I felt this in a dream. Like I've always felt that was deja.
We're going to stop there for just a moment. They're teasing out the distinctions. We're gonna listen to the whole thing, but it's a great question. Is prophetic dreaming basically the same feeling as deja vu? And we're going to hear from Sitch in a minute. No, it's not. And Adam is just in his ignorance. Nothing wrong with that. Not an insult. Just he doesn't know. He's asking questions, asking a very reasonable question, because that's the natural thing we think is like, is it that feeling you get when a prophetic dream is coming true before your very eyes? Is it like deja vu? Because that's the only other thing most people have experienced that they could relate it to, the experience that this has happened before. And we naturally ask, is that what it's like? He's going to say not exactly, and for reasons. We're going to get into that.
Well, that's what deja vu is. But I've had, but
going to stop there again. Sitch goes on to say, well, that's what deja vu is. Not exactly. Not exactly. How do we tease those out? Deja vu is a separate feeling, and he's going to say that in a moment too. But the experience is analogous. It's allied, so to speak. They're in the same ballpark. So what's going on with deja vu? The experience of it, what people describe, is that you've got the sudden experience that something you're experiencing now has happened before, or is happening again. That is distinctly different from the prophetic dream thing, because it's not linked to any other experience in the past where you knew that was coming. There's a very clear and stark distinction that makes them not of the same category, even if the sensation, which is different, but is roughly similar. Like I said, same ballpark on the sensation, very different experiences, actual different categories of experience. So I'm going to mark one wrong for Sitch there for just saying that. And then maybe he'll correct himself, but I'm not going to deduct the deduction. Yeah.
In your psychology classes, they say deja vu. Obviously, they don't say deja vu is dreaming the future. What they say is deja vu is when you experience something that's very similar to something else you've experienced, and your brain fills in the gaps.
Right.
I'm going to take another point away. Sorry, Sitch. I love you. That is not technically accurate. That is one way some people have described it. You're not entirely wrong. Not entirely wrong. You still get a full point off, but not entirely wrong. So there's a lot of different theories on that. What he had said, I want to go back and listen to it again so I can respond to the words precisely, because that's what I'm nitpicking. And that if I'm not going to be precise, then I can't judge him for not being precise. 10-second reverse here.
So obviously, they don't say deja vu is dreaming the future. What they say is deja vu is when you experience something that's very similar to something else you've experienced, and your brain fills in the gaps.
Okay, as I was saying, very much some people have speculated, but not exactly the top theory. Again, going with the Occam's razor style here, the idea that you're experiencing something merely similar, that's not the experience. You're not saying, oh, I've been in this kind of situation before. It is the sensation that something you just experienced is looped, doubled. It is a doubling of experience that's deja vu, double view, in a way, that the idea of seeing the same thing, not something similar. So there's a little less simple of an explanation going on there, a little overcomplication. Well, your brain is just filling in the gaps. I'm going to say not so much. So that's why he gets the point deducted. The prevailing theory, the top speculation, because what do we know? This is all speculation, but is the idea that we've got neuronal pathways that are responding to physical stimulus, visual, auditory, tactile, all these things are happening. We are immediately processing those things, and that's all taking place in these neuronal pathways. The prevailing theory is that there is a literal loop that takes place in those exact same pathways. The stimulus is coming in, tick, tack, tack, and it just loops itself. Those exact same pathways fire a second time, unbidden, uncaused by a repeat of the actual stimulus. So, bing, bang, boom, bing, bang, boom. Literally, the experience of experiencing something twice is the experience we have, because it's physically re-experiencing itself in our brain. I've probably explained this way too much, but that is the prevailing theory of a loop. There are other theories. I have always had a feeling personally, this is spooky woo, supernatural. I got no reason for this other than it's an idea that makes sense to me or has always stuck with me, that I'm in the right place at the right time for a reason. What do I know? Can I prove that? No. Can I say with any certainty that's likely in any way? No. But that always felt good to me. Other people I've known have said that feeling terrifies them, and it makes them feel like they are absolutely in the wrong place at the wrong time for the wrong reason, and they better get the fuck out of there. Maybe they're right, but it has always been a very inspiring, comforting, magical, supernatural feeling experience to me. When it happens, I'm like, whoa, deja vu. I'm here now in this place. And I start thinking about all the things that brought me there and why I'm there, and the purpose of me being in that location and the people I'm with and what I did prior that day. And maybe even going back 10 years and saying, if I hadn't done this and then that, I wouldn't be right here, right now. All of these things conspired to bring me to this specific point to have deja vu at this very moment. What does it mean? I don't know, but I like it. I enjoy the experience. So maybe my positive emotional response to the sensation is biasing me towards thinking it's something good generally. If you have a choice between believing it to be a good thing or a negative, fearful thing, why not choose believing it is a good thing? I'm just saying. Moving on.
Right.
And I've experienced both of those things. I've experienced things where I go, oh no, this is just very similar to something else. But as I've said, I've used to have many, many prophetic dreams, but of always of inconsequential things, like people asking me what the fuck time it was, or the incidents that I just talked about. And it does have that strong deja vu feeling, like hits you like a fucking truck. Or at least it did for me. I was like,
and I would say that's the distinction. So he's saying they're very similar, and they are. I'm not deducting a point for that comparison. Same ballpark. You throw a grenade, you're going to hit them both. But he's describing also, and I think he didn't even pick up on this, the idea of it hits you like a truck, that intensity of the prophetic dream coming true versus the deja vu, which is similar, but I think honestly distinctly different. And there you have it.
This is crazy. So there you go. Sitch can see the future. And when I told my parents about this, they said, why don't you dream up the lotto numbers, kid?
Yeah.
This is also another common response that people have. Well, why don't you dream of something useful to yourself, to your own success? For reasons we have no idea, it doesn't seem to work that way. Sometimes people are warned of pending disasters, and they do make different choices, or at least are aware of things as they happen. And that awareness has given them the ability to navigate that circumstance better than perhaps they would have if they hadn't had the warning. But it does not appear possible, so far that as I know, or have I ever heard, or all the research, that people can say, tonight I will dream prophetically of the lottery numbers. It just doesn't happen. Or if it does, those people are keeping it to themselves, which, maybe I would. So there's always that kind of selection bias in what people choose to disclose. We may never know how many phenomena occur in the world because they occur very rarely, and those people choose not to share them for reasons of their own. That's a confound in science that we're always struggling with, is how do we know we've accounted for all the unknown unknowns? You can't. You just can't ever. It's, just that idea blows my mind. Back to the story.
Of course. That's mundane.
Right. Like, go sit in front of the TV whenever they do the lotto numbers. Maybe they'll remember them in a dream once.
Yeah. I think I had a dream last night, but I can't for the life of me remember it.
Gonna stop right there for just a second. Welcome to my world. I literally had some dreams last night. I think I had 4 separate dreams. I was tweeting like, I'm exhausted. It was a long day. I had 2 interviews yesterday. Got them both done. One of them went extremely long. I was mentally, physically exhausted, just burnt out. And I laid down like, thank God I could put my head on the pillow, and I could not fall asleep. It was driving me crazy. And then I tossed and turned all night. And, so I was forced to tweet, Morpheus will not come. And eventually he did. And he brought me 4 dreams. I have the memory of having 4 distinct dreams that I woke up from as I tossed and turned. Can't tell you anything about any of them. No, I mean, even starting to describe it is like impossible, except one very clear, distinct image that jumped out to me that stayed with me. Couldn't tell you anything else, but it's Ricky Gervais, and he's driving a white Suburban, the giant, Chevy Suburbans, older model. I don't know. Not too old, not brand new, not 2020, but like, maybe late 2000. I don't know. Anyway. And it flies. Ricky Gervais is driving a flying Suburban. And for some reason, this is unique to him. It has something to do with him and this specific vehicle. Like, he can't fly, the vehicle can't fly, but him driving the vehicle can fly. And he's actually driving on a road, and he decides to fly it up over a moving train. And then that's the entire scene, a snippet, 2 seconds of this. What the hell is that? And why do I remember just that part and really nothing else about any of these 4 complete long dreams that I had during the night? I don't know, but just piggybacking off what Adam said, it's very common. A lot of people just don't remember their dreams. But my working theory, we dream all night, constantly. Our brain never shuts off. We're just mostly not aware of it, never hits that liminal consciousness. And not surprising, most people got nothing to say about dreams, don't remember them, and can't. But as he said, he remembers that he had one, but just can't tell you about it, just like me. So
I did too, and I don't remember it.
Also Sitch.
Which I've been doing the best way to remember your dreams is right when you wake up to write what you remember.
Bingo! The best way to remember your dreams is immediately when you wake up, write them down, or some other recording method. And don't worry about getting all the details. Don't worry about getting it chronological. The act of writing it down will pull out those additional details. I didn't do that myself because I just wanted to go back to sleep. And then the last thing I remember was not worth writing down because I remember it. It was Ricky Gervais driving a flying Chevy Suburban white truck. I would have recorded it if it were necessary to do so, but getting in the habit of that too will also encourage your ability to remember more. And I used to keep a dream journal by my bedside and try and wake up and write down as much as I could remember. Sometimes it'd be 3 or 4 lines of weird. I think I saw this. One of the dreams I do remember, if you've made it this far into the video, you get a spoiler. I've told people I only have maybe a handful, maybe 5 dreams I can count all in one hand that I remember. This was one of them. Just a brief snippet. I'm on a beach. I don't see myself. It's daylight. It's a very nice white sand beach, beautiful blue water. And at the, dog wants to get down. Go on, boo boo. At the edge of the water is a lion made of fire. It's not a lion on fire. It's not fire that kind of looks like a lion. It's like a lion. And I know it in my mind, a lion made of fire on the beach. And I think the, gently, what do you call it? The surf, the ebb and flow of the tide, is kind of, waves are lapping at the back of his ankles. And that's it. That's all. He has a nice long tail. And at the end of the tail is a poofy fireball. That's it. I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like the lion was aggressive. That's just one dream I remember from 30 years ago. Kind of amazing. Why that? The hell does that mean? I have no idea. I was not doing dream analysis at the time. And it seems I couldn't relate it to any specific circumstances. Maybe, who knows? Maybe a lot of things. But anyway, wanted to throw that in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then to tell yourself that night before to remember your dreams. That's generally the best way to do it.
There is some limited success with telling yourself the night before to remember your dreams. There are a lot of offered method strategies for doing that. And this is in the broad category of dream programming. If you can encourage yourself before you go to bed or say to yourself in a strong enough way, I will remember my dreams. I will be able to fly in my dreams. Sometimes these things have an effect because we do carry our conscious daytime thoughts, very often thoughts right before sleep into sleep because sleep is just dreams are just the continuation of that mental daily thought process going on. And of course, just cascades into it. Funny thing though, too, we remember the moment of our awaking. We do not remember the moment we pass into sleep. That is something we appear to be just completely unable to see because it is the loss of consciousness. It is the loss of our ability to focus and attend to what's happening to us at that moment. And we need to do that. We got to be able to shut that off to get into the sleep part of resting at night. So just a fascinating little side note there that I thought people might want to know.
But
my wife and I switch sides of the bed, so that helps a lot.
Another great point. A lot of things I wanted to respond to on this. Changing patterns of behavior can often impact sleep and maybe even help you remember your dreams. Can't say with certainty that is the method everyone should try, but give it a try. See what happens. See if changing the side of the bed you sleep on, the position you typically sleep in, is going to have an effect on whether you can remember your dreams, the quality of your dreams, whether they're good or bad dreams. There's a lot of physical things like discomfort in sleep, tossing and turning, as I did the other night, that affect the quality of our dreams because these physical sensations are registering in the brain. We're not aware of them consciously in that, but our dream consciousness, so to speak, is very much aware of them and will often incorporate them into dream experiences. You've probably noticed that I don't too often lean into that idea or ask dreamers to find such excuses, so to speak. I'm very much looking for why are these symbols related to thought processes. But in the past, I have been stumped by a particular thing and, made a couple suggestions. Could have been you went to bed with a full stomach and you had some gas at a particular moment, or this was right before you rolled over, so you were uncomfortable. I do remember talking to one gal about that. So these things absolutely have an impact.
Like,
really?
Yeah. Because you're in a different place.
Oh, location. Yeah. Why do you guys switch sides? That's unusual.
So for that reason, so we can remember our dreams and
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
yeah. You should do what I said. You got to write down your dreams, or as I've been doing, I've been speaking them into my phone in a little text-to-speech thing when I wake up.
Also, a very good thing. What was it? Episode 32, maybe, was the recorded. I had a guest who she records her dreams on her phone. And you can just do that and just speak it out loud and say, I saw a thing, and then I did this thing, and then I was in this place with these people, and you just get it out, get it recorded any way you can. Text or speech to text, fantastic. If you got that kind of an app on your phone, use it, and it'll type it out for you. Then you can, email it to yourself and share it with me on my Discord. So.
And then you tell yourself at night while you're falling asleep, say, just repeat to yourself, I will remember my dreams, or don't say I will. Say, I remember my dreams, I remember my dreams, I remember my dreams. And I write them down when I wake up.
Maybe I'll try that.
Right. My last dream that I remembered was the day before yesterday. I was in a classroom and kids were on the computer looking at porn. Mm-hmm. And I saw through the window that the teacher was coming in. So I told them, I said, hey, watch out, the teacher's coming back. But there was a TA in the room I didn't see, and the TA rats me out to the teacher.
What?
But then the teacher said, fuck you. Why are you being a snitch?
Wow.
The teacher had my back.
Very interesting here. Now, I'm not going to offer a real analysis because we got to talk about this. We got to get more details. But broad category of dreams. I'm back in school. Very common. An entire category of dreams like flying dreams, falling dreams. Dreams of being back in school as a child again, or out of place because you're an adult in the classroom. You're like, whoa, what am I doing here? Broad strokes on this one, just to give Sitch, if you're interested, let's talk about this. But, what's the frame of reference? School. When did that happen? When you were younger. There's a school days portion of our life that is very impactful, makes a huge, impact that carries forward with us throughout the rest of our life. All these, they call them formative experiences. We learn a lot of stuff about ourselves, about the world, learn to read and write, and all these things that change our life forever in so many ways, social relationships, navigating those things. But it's also a representation of ourselves at a younger age. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to say that definitively. There's a lot of that goes into it. The idea that you have put yourself back in this environment because you're thinking about something that brings that to mind, that experience, something about that. And now he's mixing it up with the taboo of children accessing pornography in the wrong place for that, even if that wasn't by itself taboo. But to do it in school is on another level. And the idea that there's consequences, judgment of authority figures. He's been ratted out by a TA, a teacher's assistant, so a sub-authority figure. And then the main authority figure comes in and says, condemns the snitch. Like tattletaling is a bad thing. So we got a lot of different ways to go with this. The idea of what tickles my brainstem on this one is the idea of judgment, proper judgment, where to apply judgment in a given scenario. Where's the real blame here? I mean, sure the kids are doing something wrong, but is it actually worse that someone's ratting them out and getting them in trouble when they didn't have to? Maybe there's this perception of unfair judgment or unfair consequences being levied. A lot of interesting different ways to go with that. Sitch, if you're up for it, I'd love to have you on and talk about this dream or any dream you want. So let's continue.
Bam.
So teacher slapped the shit out of her.
Well, no, it wasn't like that. But also the teacher for some reason had all black. Their eyes they didn't have any whites of their eyes. They were all black.
Wow.
And then
that is a very unique feature. I would definitely focus on that. What is it about? I mean, the eyes are windows to the soul, so to speak. That's one way to look at this. The eyes are very important to human function. Not that you can't function if you're blind, but man, it complicates everything. We use vision for everything. We read, we write, we navigate space, we drive cars, we cross the street, we tell rotten fruit from fresh fruit on sight without even having to touch it or smell it or get icky whatever goo on our hands. It's vision is extremely important and features prominently in dreams. So the idea that he's focusing his attention on these visual, and also the idea of seeing judgment, and the teacher turning a blind eye, perhaps. There's a lot of metaphorical ways to go with this too, but the eyes also are tools not just of reception, but also of communication. If we don't look at someone, maybe we're mad at them. If we look at someone and we look over here with our eyes and we're telling them something, we're communicating something. Directing my gaze in a particular direction also communicates to other people that I'm looking at something. And that's a social cue to other people that their attention there may be something there of interest for them, something they want to also direct their gaze towards. So very interesting. I mean, there's also the, if you're a fan of the show Supernatural, that's the classic demon possession look, the all black eyes. So he could be putting nefarious purpose into this figure by giving them all black eyes. But I really have an innate sense that it's more due to turning a blind eye or the lack of directing his gaze in a specific direction. Peanut butter, get your baby. Come here. I'm gonna have to throw his baby for a minute. Come here. Let's put this back on while I throw the baby.
And that scene transitioned to a scene where my father was mowing the lawn.
Oh, okay. We're going to stop right there for just a second. Transitions, also very important. So we've got this encapsulated chapter, the first act of the play, so to speak. Get your baby. Get her over here. Come here. Jesus Christ. And once we have fully experienced that thought that is represented, that train of thought that, we've thought through this encapsulated concept that we wanted to express in that particular kind of imagery, that is usually a trigger for the next associated thought. And this classroom scene is now taking him into his father is mowing the lawn. This is where we start getting a story arc for the dream. Why does one thought connect with the other? I'm going to poke you in the face. Look at you. Come here. Get your baby. And then he won't bring it to me. You're a bastard, Peanut. I love you, you little bastard. I don't know. I had thoughts. I got interrupted. Whatever. Connected stuff. We're going to back it up a second and listen to this.
They didn't have any white to their eyes. They were all black.
Wow.
And then that scene transitioned to a scene where my father was mowing the lawn, and that was scaring the neighborhood lion.
The neighborhood lion?
There was a neighborhood lion that was being scared, and then I woke up. So that was my last dream. No, obviously not a dream of the future.
Now that one throws me for a loop. We would have to talk about the specific circumstances of that much more in depth. We would do the deep dive on it before I could even hope to figure that out. Why a lion? I don't know. For me, why a lion made of flame on a beach? I forgot he'd even mentioned this when I brought that portion of my own dream up. But yeah, that's quite a thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, should we continue with this video?
Sure, I guess. I mean,
well, we are not going to continue with this video or watching that video, and I'm already up to like an hour on whatever this is. Should I give you the tally? I mean, if you've been paying attention, you probably know. Sitch was wrong a grand total of 4 times. Adam wrong only twice. He did very good in this 16-minute snippet that we've now been analyzing for over an hour. However, Sitch, you tend to talk about twice as much as Adam at any given time. So we're going to cut that in half and say Sitch and Adam are both tied at a weighted score of 2-2. This has been Incantus Phylacterium, episode 15. Sitch and Adam are wrong about everything. And I love you guys. Great show. Always enjoy it. And I'd love to talk to you. Let me know. Thanks for listening.